you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Livin the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you from beautiful, sunny San Diego. And today we're going to be chatting with yoga instructor and spiritual sister, Sara Martin Thomas. Sara graduated from SDSU with a bachelor's in kinesiology, fitness, health, and nutrition. She started her fitness career in 2002, working as a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness. In 2005, she discovered yoga through Bikram Yoga. And a year later, she did 200 hours of a power yoga cert and became a hot yoga instructor and then a power sculpt instructor. In 2008, she helped open Sculpt Fusion Yoga, which is now Yoga 6 here in Carmel Valley, California, San Diego, where she still currently teaches. And as things opened up from quarantine, she just recently started a Sunday morning meditation and yoga class in the park with the help of Meditative Vibes using their noise-canceling headphones. She's also married with two beautiful boys, ages 8 and 10. Sara was actually the reason I got my first exposure to the world of yoga and what it can actually offer athletes and non-athletes alike. She has a passion for what she does, and it shows every single time you step onto the mat with her leading the way. She has a way of connecting with each and every person in the room. She celebrates and she smiles and she has fun when she sees her people excel. She brings this special new age flair to her teaching style that I've never seen and with any yoga instructor that I've ever taken a class with. So in today's episode, we will be hearing about her story and why she is where she is and why she does what she does. We will learn about what yoga actually is meant to be about, which may change your view on what you thought yoga was. Here's a little hint. It's not just about stretching and the poses and being more flexible. And what I was most excited about after having our conversation with her is we get to have Sara lead us through a guided breathwork meditation. Super awesome. If you're someone who is re-listening to this episode and wants to jump straight to the meditation, you can skip forward to 29 minutes in. But before we get to our chat with Sara, I want to start by thanking the sponsors of this podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Eat the Frog Fitness. Eat the Frog Fitness is the most personalized group fitness experience that you will ever find. All Frog Squad members are assessed every 8 weeks to see and track their progress. The programming is backed by science-based periodization, which means that your sessions are designed to progress your intensity over time, as well as have programmed in recovery weeks. Check out any Eat the Frog Fitness locations in Southern California, and if you mention the Livin the Dream podcast, you receive your first 2 training sessions complimentary. Another one of our sponsors is Dirt Food. Dirt Food, delicious and healing superfoods made by hand and made with love. Dirt Food was created by a local San Diego friend of mine who was going through her battle of cancer. She was looking to find some cancer-fighting superfoods that would help her defeat the 2 different types of cancer that she had. She created a delicious and a healthy superfood granola. She has dirt spice. This company is amazing. Visit eatdirtfood.com and use the discount code DirtyDamien for 10% off. That's DIRTYDAMIEN, all one word, no space, for 10% off your entire order. And this week's 5-star review comes from Melissa C. Melissa C., her review is titled, "Give It a Listen Now." Damian brings a plethora of fact-based science and conversation to the table in the most genuine, logical, and personable way. The Livin the Dream message is a message of reason, love, and growth in an absolutely chaotic world. Give it a listen. You will not regret it. Thank you so much, Melissa C., for your support and kind words. If y'all would do me a favor, if you haven't already, while you're listening to this episode, if you haven't subscribed or followed, please take a second to subscribe to this podcast. And then if you're on Apple Podcasts, scroll down and leave me a 5-star review if you feel that I've earned it. I read every single one, and I love and appreciate the feedback. Thank you so much. Before we jump in, just a little quick disclaimer here. I am still learning how to record interviews with 2 microphones with good audio quality. So the audio on this interview is a little weird, and I apologize about that. I definitely will do my best to figure out how I can get better quality in the future because I know it's so, so important. So let me know if you'll have any feedback that may help me with this issue, and thank you in advance for understanding. And without any further ado, let's jump into my chat with Sara Martin Thomas.
Sara, I'm so excited to have you on this podcast today. And just for the listeners, to give a little context about how we first connected, I was a coach at Orange Theory Fitness, and Sara would come into my classes, and I loved creating playlists. And Sara would always request songs, and she would request hip hop heavy songs, 90s, think like Biggie and Tupac and all that stuff. I was like, I love this lady's style. And then I learned that she was a yoga instructor, and she would always talk about my posture. She would always talk about how I need to work on my flexibility because, I was that muscle bound dude that didn't ever work on flexibility and mobility. So I finally took a, a session with her at her yoga studio. And I mean, I was the guy that didn't even know what a chaturanga was. So I was looking around the class and I was trying to figure out like what to do. And she just showed me the way of yoga and what it could offer your life. And I really connected to the style of deep stretching and yin yoga. I love that. And I practice it daily now. I use it as part of my sleep routine. So I just have to thank Sara. Thank you so much for inspiring me and having such a great impact on my health journey. And thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on the podcast.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So let's get started. So I'd love for the Livin the Dream team to just get a little sense about who you are, what it is you do, and what is your why as to why you do it. I read your bio in the intro, but if you could tell us your story of how you just first got involved with yoga and what it means to you to do what you do and why you do what you do.
All right. This may be quite a long story. Okay, so when I was 5, I started playing soccer. And that was just my jam. Like, I tried basketball, I tried softball, but no, soccer was my jam. And then, I think that just started, like, my love of movement, of just being active. And then my brothers and sisters played Little League, and my dad was the coach. And I grew up kind of like the mascot in the dugout. And just the community feel of just being around people. Like, I love everything, the sunflower seeds, the chewing of the gum, the just sitting there and cheering. That, when I look back now, is where like I first really loved like the community feel of sports. And then in high school, I played soccer all through from 5 until soccer. But my senior year, I dealt with some mean girl issues. And so I said, I don't want to play soccer anymore. And I started running. And I just started realizing like the mental effects of how I was able to just calm down. And it felt so good. And then I started working on a gym and the group fitness classes I was all about. And something inside of me was like, I want to be a personal trainer. But then also from my love of baseball, I was like, God, it would be so great to be like a strength trainer for a Major League Baseball team. So I just kind of started with those crazy goals in mind. And then I grew up in Torrance, California. My parents got divorced when I was 9, and I moved to Westlake Village, Oak Park. My parents when my mom remarried my stepdad, we had moved to Tucson. So I went to high school in Tucson. So people always say, you're from Arizona. No, I just went to high school in Arizona. Anyway, I wanted to come back to San Diego. And I got into San Diego State University. And my degree is in kinesiology, fitness, health, and nutrition. But when I was in college, I gained like the freshman 15 plus. And what started out as a passion for movement and a big stress relief turned into kind of like a little bit of a sick obsession where I had a little bit of an eating disorder. I grew up, my sister, she was anorexic and bulimic, and we shared a room together, and she would hide just bags of Doritos, Oreos underneath her bed. So I kind of grew up with that like being my norm. And then sadly, I was a little bit chubby as a young child, and people would joke to me like, "Oh, Sara, you're a little like you got a big butt or whatever," and they were just joking, but that stuff stays with you. And then in high school, I don't know what happened, but I don't know if it was the stress from other stuff from my childhood, but I remember eating, remember Cinnabon? Mm-hmm. I would eat like an entire box of Cinnabon, and then I would go to the gym, and I would work out for like 2 hours straight, and then not eat anything else for the rest of the night. Like I remember I just went through like I really would control my food. It got bad. And then in college, I just started to get really depressed about being in a new environment, gaining weight, and I would go home on the summers and live with my dad in Torrance, where I didn't have a lot of friends. And I remember I would work out at 24 Hour Fitness, and which is now, or it was called Family Fitness. Now it's 24 Hour Fitness. And I would go work out in the gym. And then at night, my stepmom had these Jane Fonda VHS videos, and they were just stretching. And I would do that every night. It was just kind of like, it just felt so good. I was like, oh my gosh, the stretching feels so good. I would sleep so good. And then fast forward to a little bit, or back to being in college, I got a job at 24 Hour Fitness because I wanted to teach group fitness. And group manager, fitness manager, I told her I wanted to teach, and she's like, okay, Sara, whenever you want, but I just didn't have the confidence. And, since we both have similar degrees in college, we learned so much from books, but there wasn't that much application. And I remember my favorite classes were the classes where I had to teach a group fitness class from like one of my finals, and my final was like teach a step class. Back in the 90s, like step was so huge, and it was so much fun. So I felt like I was slowly, even though I wasn't aware of it at the time, I was finding like where I was going in life. And after I graduated from college, I wanted to take a year off. And in the 90s, some people who are listening to this podcast might remember this Windsor Pilates. There was her name was Mari Windsor, and she always had these like infomercials about her Pilates, recordings. And so because I'm that person, I was like, oh, I'm going to go be a Pilates instructor. I'm going to go study Pilates. And I literally took out a credit card, commuted from San Diego to Newport Beach, and went with like one of the most highly renowned California. His name is Rail. I'm going to butcher his name. Isakowitz. Anyway, I realized I was way over my head. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. Then for some reason, I always wanted to be a flight attendant. And this is another crazy story, you guys. So I decided to be a flight attendant for Southwest Airlines. And my very first day of putting on my uniform, going to Oakland, which was where my base was going to be, was 9/11. No joke.
No way.
I'm in my hotel room by myself in Oakland, putting on my uniform, and I see on the TV the first plane, and I thought, oh, that's just some freak accident, right? So I get in the shuttle to go to the airport, and when I get to the airport, they told me about the second plane, and they said, if you can, rent a car and go home, and we'll be in touch because we don't know what's going on. And so I was one of the a lot of people were stranded, right? So I literally found another person. We rented a car and we drove from Oakland to San Diego. And I wasn't freaked out for some reason at all, which is really weird. But I did that job for a year because I realized that wasn't for me either. And then I used to wait tables through college, and I loved P.F. Chang's. The food is so good. So I said, I'm going to get a job at P.F. Chang's as a manager, okay? While I was doing that, I said, okay, I'm making good money. Why not hire a personal trainer for myself? I'm at 24-hour fitness with my trainer, and I'm thinking to myself, Sara, why are you not doing this? Like, what she's doing, you can do this and do it even better. And so, literally after 3 months of being a manager at PF Chang's, I quit that job. My degree in kinesiology was enough to get a job at 24 Fitness, but if you want to make more money, you got to get more certifications. So I got, which is considered, I don't know if it's still considered the gold standard, NASM, National Academy.
Yeah, it's one of the top 3.
Yeah. So I got that one, and then I got NCSF, National Council on Strength and Fitness. Mm-hmm. And that was around 2002, 3, somewhere. I did that for a couple years, loved it. But then I just realized something's missing. There's more. I need something more. And a girlfriend of mine introduced me to Bikram yoga. And I fell in love with it. I was doing it 2 to 3 times a week. I loved it so much that what I loved was, the gym, you use pretty much 1 or 2 muscle groups for each exercise. It's for each, whatever, lifting your weights. And through Bikram, you're literally strengthening your body from the inside out with your breath. You're quieting your mind. You're sweating out toxins because it's 100 and something degrees. And I just left every class feeling freaking amazing. I was on the best high ever. So I was going to do the teacher training, which that's a whole other conversation, but I dodged the bullet there. A friend introduced me to Core Power Yoga in Point Loma. It was the very first Core Power Yoga in San Diego. And I did my first power yoga class, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I remember, I thought I was in shape. My first downward facing dog, I was dying. My first chaturanga, I was like, what? I thought, oh my gosh, this is the strength that you get using your own body resistance. I just blew my mind. And they had a 200-hour yoga certification training, and I thought it was a hot yoga training because what they were teaching was very similar to Bikram, but it was a power yoga training. So I was like, all right, Sara, let's just do this. And what I loved about that studio was the second you walk in that studio, I felt super, it was like a family commuting environment right there from the beginning. So I was like, okay, love this. And then the manager at the time, she encouraged me, you should do the teacher training. So I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then I did the training, and even though it was a power training, because I was one of the few people who loved hot yoga, and since it was the only studio in San Diego at the time, they hired me as a hot yoga. I did a separate kind of speed hot yoga training, and I have to tell you, the first time, I remember before my first class, I'm standing outside the door, and I'm freaking out. I can't do this. What am I doing? And her name is Elissa. She was like, Sara, take a deep breath. You can do this. So I walked in. I don't even know how I got through it. I loved it. It was so much fun. I was like, this is it. This is me. This is what I'm going to do. So I love that. It took me 6 months to teach my first power yoga class because I had to get the confidence to do that. Took me another probably 6 months to teach Sculpt yoga. And when I taught Sculpt yoga, actually the first time I taught Sculpt yoga, I was like, okay, this is it. Through the training, through that community atmosphere of Core Power Yoga, through the instructors going to classes, giving each other feedback, hanging out outside, I had this newfound confidence in myself. My depression went away, or at least for a little bit. And I quit my job at 24 Hour Fitness because I was still working as a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness while I was teaching at Core Power. I took my clients from 24 Hour Fitness and turned them into sculptors. Like, to me, it's the best class you can do in 1 hour because you are not only using dumbbells, you do plyometrics, you do the cardio bursts, you incorporate the yoga.
What I love about your story, Sarah, is the more that I hear about it, the stuff that I didn't know, the more I'm like, our journeys were so freaking similar.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing some of the stuff about the insecurities that you had. Because what I think is super important about that is a lot of people see these fitness professionals and they're like, they had it all their lives. This is what they were meant to do. But what I'm finding out the more I'm in the space is that people get into this field because they're trying to deal with an insecurity in themselves, because they're trying to be able to like fight something inside of them that is pretty evil at a certain point, where you're talking about yourself in a way that is so unhealthy and just negative. And when you go through that, you're able to see the benefits of what health, fitness, movement, all that can bring to your life. And then you can also lead other people through it because you've been there, you've seen it, and you know what's possible. And the more deep of a hole that you were in, the more passionate you are about fitness because you can see where it can bring you up from. And I think that's so beautiful. And what I love about you going to PF Chang's and you being a flight attendant, you tried to take your life in a few different ways, but it kept trying to pull you right back into this lane where it seems to me, especially every time I take your workouts, your yoga flows, this is where you were meant to be. Like, you have fun, you enjoy helping people, you see the people that are crushing it and you challenge them, you see the people that are struggling and you make them feel like they're killing it. That's something special, and you can't do that without the experience that you went through. And I just love that about your story. So moving from that, opening a business here in San Diego and helping grow that. And I mean, a lot of our listeners, they participate in high intensity group fitness workouts. And you teach Sculpt yoga, which is very similar, except for the fact that it's like 1,000,000 degrees in the room. And one thing that I struggle with a lot. Can you talk a little bit about how yoga can help that type of person that does group fitness, that likes to kick their butt, all that stuff? How can yoga help those type of people attain their fitness goals? And then what more could it add to someone's life that has like never really been in a consistent yoga routine? How can that help those type of people?
Okay. So when I was like a gym person forever. And so, yeah, when I first walked into yoga, it was super duper intimidating. To me, how you make someone feel the second they walk in the door is huge. So I love being at the front desk, checking people in. So the second someone walks in and I can see they kind of look like a deer with the headlights, I immediately say, "Hi, I'm Sarah, like, welcome. Tell me a little bit about yourself." And you gotta walk in doubting your doubts. I always tell people, embrace your suck, check your ego at the door. It should be a non-judgmental atmosphere. I tell people in class all the time, I say, I need you just as much as you need me. I mess up class all the time. So I tell people, hey, if I forget something, help me out. Like, help me, help you. So I'm learning every day just as much as they learn. And just like anything, when you start something new, it's a little bit scary, but what you're going to find when you're in yoga is, so first it's about the breath. When you just take a moment, when we start class, we just focus on the breath, just breathing. And when you're able to just focus on your breath like that, you just kind of that self-sabotaging, self-deprecating, why am I here? What am I doing? I want to be in the gym. I want to be in yoga. That all goes away. And then you're just able to just kind of open your mind and be like, okay, I'm ready for this. And then if you have a teacher who just, like, I'm kind of an anatomy freak about alignment, helps you feel how to get into those postures, and then you start to feel muscles that you didn't even know existed, and you're not only using your physical body, but you're using your breath to help with your mind. And it's honestly one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had in my life.
And what I love about what you said, most people come in, the layman thinks of yoga, they'll come into the room and they think, I just got to get into a bunch of these poses. I got to be flexible. I have to be able to like do the splits. But the very first thing that you talked about was breath. So can you talk a little bit more about like why yoga is not just about the poses, which is what I thought when I first went into my first yoga class. I was like, I got to get flexible. I got to get flexible. But yoga was based around breath. And I think breath is going to be the next huge health craze, even though it's the oldest thing you could possibly think of when monks do it. And people that have been in that kind of realm, they know breath is so important. Can you talk about why yoga is not just about the poses?
Well, instead of just talking about it, do you want to do a little meditation?
I would love to, yes.
And so for those of you like, oh no, meditation, that freaks me out. I just want you to know it scared the crap out of me too. Like the first time I walked into a yoga studio and we ended class saying namaste, I was like, okay, what is that? What the heck is namaste? Is this some sort of like crazy freakish religion? Like, what is this? So for those of you who want to know first, namaste real quick. There's many translations. My favorite translation of namaste, and this is what we usually say at the end of class, is the bright light within me honors and sees the bright light within every one of you. So it's just kind of a goodbye, a thank you, all that wrapped into one. And then some studios you go to, they om, they chant. That was not my jam. That scared the crap out of me. But when you just start with being open to the breath, then you find out that you're open to the whole world of amazingness that yoga offers. But this guided meditation, just listen if you're weirded out, and then maybe listen again and do it.
And if you're like me and you listen to podcasts on like 1.5 speed or 2 times the speed, go ahead and take this down to normal speed, because Sarah's going to talk you through about how to breathe, and she's going to lead you through inhales and exhales. And if it's on double the speed, it's just not going to work quite as well. Also, Sarah, there's many types of breathing technique. Before you get us into the meditation, can you maybe tell us how to, I know it sounds weird, tell us how to breathe, like which technique is the best?
Well, this meditation is only breath.
Okay.
It's only breathing, because you're like, Sarah, you got to keep it 2 to 3 minutes. That's impossible. So you guys, I'm not going to talk about any mantras. I'm not going to take you through any visual exercise. This is just purely breath. And I'm taking you through a few different types of breathing. I'm going to break it down to your normal, natural breath to introduce you to the yogic breath. Okay? So what I want you to do is find a comfortable seated position. And what I mean by this is not sitting with your shoulders rounded. So if you need to sit with a pillow underneath you to help you sit a little bit more upright, if you need to sit up against a wall, I want you to do your best to guide your shoulders gently down and back. Close your eyes. And I want you to take what's called a cleansing breath. Breathe in through your nose, deeply and fully. Don't force it. Just take in as much air as you can until you can no longer take any more air in. And as you exhale, breathe out as slowly as you can, out through your nose or out through your mouth until you can no longer let any more air out. I'm just going to do that for 2 more times. Every inhale, some people like to count. If you can inhale for a count of 4 or 5 or 6, do so. And then that same thing, try to exhale for a slower count. And you should start to feel your shoulders release further away from your ears. This time, seal your lips closed. Breathe in through your nose and slowly out through your nose. Continue breathing even though I don't tell you when to inhale and exhale. Use your mind's eye. And what I mean by that is I want you to feel yourself looking at yourself internally. As you inhale through your nose, feel yourself filling up your lungs, nurturing your lungs, and increasing your lung capacity. As you're able to breathe in fuller, deeper breaths over time as you do this more consistently, more often. As you exhale through your nose, feel yourself starting to let go of any tension in your body, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Next breath, I want you to focus again, breathing in through your nose, silently. As you breathe out, think of yourself taking the heat from inside your body, bringing it up through your throat and audibly out your nose, like a Darth Vader-like sound. Think of slightly constricting the back of your throat. I'm going to do this with you a couple times to see if you can kind of hear it. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but we're going to try. So as you breathe in silently, keep doing that on your own. I'm going to guide you to more to see if you can kind of feel it and hear it. Think of slightly constricting the back of your throat, relaxing your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Over time, you may notice that what at first sounded like a Darth Vader-like sound, with every exhale, audibly through your nose with your lips sealed, the sound may remind you of ocean waves crashing. This is called the Ujjayi breath. This is the breath we use in yoga to warm up your body from the inside out, preparing your body for physical postures, to bring your awareness to the present moment, to help quiet the monkey mind chatter, and to allow your brain to communicate to the muscles to let go of any tension, and also allow the muscles to stretch safely in the physical postures. So take one more breath. Silently in through your nose. And exhale audibly through your nose with your lips sealed till you can no longer let any more air out. When you're ready, gently and softly open your eyes. How do you feel?
Amazing. You cannot do that and not feel just blissed out. Oh, look how powerful the breath is, guys. That is something special. There's something, I don't know, magical sounds stupid, but it sounds magical.
Totally.
It feels magical. So Sarah, you do a really cool breath work and meditation on Sunday mornings, out in the park, out in nature, outside, right before we do our yoga flow. This is something that I haven't experienced before, and something that I've totally dug. It is awesome. It makes me feel amazing. It gets you in the right headspace. It's perfect to do straight first thing in the morning, because that's when your mind is at that. It's an open, clean slate. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that meditation and breath work means to you, why you started doing it, and a little bit about your in the park yoga?
Well, Damian Evans, you are the one who inspired me to do that. Because do you remember when you would do your community donation classes for a charitable cause? I don't know, over at right here.
Yep, Carmel
right?
Valley
Yeah.
Rec Center.
So I used to see that, which makes me think of what was that growth mindset one you did about posting on social media and like sharing stuff that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Don't freak out if you're over posting. If you just connect with one person, you're inspiring people in ways you don't even know.
Yeah, that's it's incredible, because a lot of people are like, oh, that I don't want to be the annoying fitness person, and I don't want to share my fitness journey. I think that's annoying or whatever. You have no idea who's watching, and you have no idea what kind of ripple effect that can make. If it means something to you and you think that it can help just one person, share it. And we say that all the time. So I'm really happy to feel that it hits someone at a status of someone like you. So that's a really cool compliment.
Yeah, so I saw you do that. And then, once 220 came and everything shut down, I went back in a total depression. I need people. I can't do the Zooms. And people were asking me, why don't you teach an outdoor class? And then Meditative Vibes is a company that they have the headphones where you can spread out safely outdoors in any environment, and you can control the volume of the music and my voice. And I thought, well, this is perfect. People can spread out using these headphones safely, and we can do our yoga outside. And I think the first class I did was actually for Anna Spalding. She is a yoga instructor in Encinitas who used to be an instructor at Sculpt Fusion Yoga. She used to own her own studio. She has cancer, and so someone set up a GoFundMe, and I wanted to help. And I thought, okay, the best way I can do it is putting together a group of people in a community and doing yoga. And Ocean Air Recreation Center is right near Yoga 6 Carmel Valley, which is where most of my people who know me. And it started out just as yoga. Every Sunday, I would just teach yoga once a month. We'll pick a charitable cause where all the donations go to. And it's an only donation class. And then because of 220, I got into more personal growth to get me out of my depression. That's how I found Jay Shetty. And I started listening to his podcast. I read his book, Think Like a Monk. And then I joined his Genius group where it's an app and it's got access to all these meditations. And so I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start class. But what's so weird is when you say, yeah, Sarah, I took all these different avenues that kept pulling me back to fitness, is seeds are planted throughout your life of you say, I want to live here. I want to do that. And you don't think you're really doing anything, but you're actually setting the path of where your life's going to go. In yoga, I start every class just focusing on breath. I start every class with little mantras, like if your monkey mind chatter starts to go on, come in, every inhale, silently say to yourself, let. Every exhale, silently say to yourself, go. So I was already teaching meditation and I didn't even know it. And then when I started doing Jay Shetty's meditations and felt the power of how everyone started to really like it so much that now I teach a stretch class on Wednesdays and I will start it with a meditation. And I thought, oh no, I'm taking time away from people stretching. Is it going to bum them out? But they love it. And when you asked me to do this meditation and you're like, you got to keep it under a certain amount of time, it was so weird. It was the first time I did a meditation without like thinking I need Jay Shetty's guidance. And it was just weird. It was like kind of an aha moment, like, Sarah, you've been doing this forever. Like, just be yourself, be your authentic self. Don't worry about what other people are going to think, and you'll be amazed. So I know that I went on a little bit.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So powerful.
It was going tangents.
It's great. I mean, you just, if you can get out of your own head and think like this is kind of weird. I feel like I look silly. If you can just put that aside for a minute and just really go into it, you can feel the effects. It's not woo-woo. It's not hippie. It's, you feel different. You feel lighter. You feel happier. There's emotions that like go through you that you're like, I'm just sitting here and I'm just inhaling and I'm just exhaling. It's what's going on. It's powerful.
It's totally powerful.
I really am thankful that you helped me get into my path of yoga, get into my path of stretching, get into my path of exploring this new world that's not just bicep curls and push-ups. I really appreciate that. It's going to change my life. So thank you for that. This has been amazing. Before we get to my last question, I'd love for you to let the Livin the Dream team know about how they can connect with you, maybe your social media, your websites, anything cool that you have going on in your life that we can help support you on. And just let us know if we wanted to reach out to you to take one of your workouts or do maybe one-on-one work. Whatever you do, let us know how we can connect with you.
Okay, before I do that, one more thing I want to add, because I know you train a lot of moms, and for moms out there who have that kind of mom guilt where you feel like you always need to be with your kids, especially if you were like me. My kids have been doing school from home, Zooming, since March of 2020. And yoga is my outlet. If I don't do whatever your outlet is, whether it's eat the frog, if it's whatever, you have to have that outlet or you're going to lose your freaking mind. So moms, please give yourself permission to take an hour out of your day. If you can just go outside for a walk and just breathe, get to a class. You're going to be, I'm such a better parent. I always tell everybody after class, I'm like, okay, whatever stress you came in here with, just know we're going to be better moms, we're going to be better parents, we're going to be better spouses, better fur parents. So please, moms, give yourself that permission, because a lot of us don't feel like we deserve it, and we do. Okay.
Amen to that.
Oh, so where to find me? So I'm on social media. I'm not really that big on Facebook, but Sara Martin Thomas. It's Sara with no H, Thomas, T-H. I'm Sara Martin Thomas because before I got married, everybody knew me as Sara Martin. But my married name is Thomas, so I added that. So I'm on Instagram. I teach mainly at Yoga 6, Carmel Valley. I do private yoga classes. Actually, one thing I didn't talk about, which is one of my favorite things ever, is that I got an opportunity a few years ago to teach the water polo players at Cathedral Catholic High School, which I know you work with the soccer players.
All right, yeah.
And
Great
that
school.
was, oh my gosh, another community. I mean, those kids are amazing athletes. And then their coach was an Olympic athlete. So they had that, and then the community that the parents created, when the parents unite together to support their kids, oh my gosh, it blew me away. It was one of the best experiences of my life. And it led it to, do you remember I mentioned slightly in the beginning that when I was in high school, I had a dream to be a strength trainer for a Major League Baseball team. Well, it's amazing where the seeds you plant grow in different paths. I got the opportunity to teach yoga to the Torrey Pines high school baseball players.
Oh, how cool.
And I was like, oh my God, this is like my dream. And then I have a friend who is the head coach, or kind of, I'm planting the seeds to be his friend. We're more like acquaintances, who's the head coach of the baseball team at UCSD. And I'm like manifesting, I would love to like teach yoga to them. So I love working with kids. I'm a mom of 2 boys, so boys are my jam. Like I just really resonate with, we just love those little boys. They're so sweet. So I love to do that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, and if anyone's listening out there that has those connections,
hook a sister up.
Yeah, I'm going to include all that stuff, of course, in the show notes. So don't feel like you have to memorize that. She'll give me all of her information, and I'll make sure that you can get a hold of her in that way. Awesome. All right. So my last question, this podcast is called Livin the Dream. So my last question to you is, what does it mean to you to live your dream? And what can you offer our listeners as far as maybe some tangible action items that you can help them to live their dream?
Okay. I've been thinking about this a lot. This is a really good question to ask all your guests. To me, it really is a choice you have to make every day. One of the things I learned from Jay Shetty is go to bed every night thinking of how you want your next day to be. Go to bed every night saying, tomorrow's going to be a great day. Tomorrow's going to be better than it was today. So even my little boy, my sweet little 8-year-old William the other night, he's like, Mama, tomorrow's going to be such a great day. And I was like, yeah, buddy, it is. And so when you wake up, you have to make that decision. It's mindset. So much of what we do is mindset. Things aren't going to happen to you just because you think they're going to happen. You have to go out and make it a great day. Surround yourself with like-minded people.
That was some great advice from Sara Martin Thomas. We did have a little bit of technical difficulties here at the end, so I lost the last minute of what she said, but we'll make sure that we get Sara back on and give her that question again. I really appreciate you, Sara, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with us. It was really fun. I'll make sure that I include all of the links in Sara's social media and contact info and anything else that we discussed on this episode. Thank you, Sara, and namaste. And for those of you listening, I really hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more in depth about the benefits as to what yoga can offer you. For all of you super type A go-getters, it could be a way for you to really slow down and get you to focus a little more within. For those of you with sedentary lifestyles, it could be a way for you to nourish your body with some much needed movement. It could also be your first exposure into the crazy world of breath and its powerful effects when you learn how to harness it correctly. If you're in the San Diego area, I highly recommend you check out Sara's yoga schedule. I always say support good people who support the community. And if you're listening elsewhere, go check out the different styles of yoga studios around you. Or you could even go onto YouTube or the internet and search out some free content and just dip your toe in the yoga water and see if it may be something that you want to include into your fitness and health weekly routine. Let me know your thoughts, and thank you again for bearing with the audio quality. I definitely will have that ironed out by the next chat with Sara. All right, Dream Team, that's it for today. Please share with me any knowledge, thoughts, or questions you may have on today's topic. I'll make sure to answer and discuss on the next episode. You can ask your questions in the comments section or message me on any of the social media platforms. Also, I would be so thankful if you shared this episode with any of your friends or family that may be able to benefit from today's podcast. I would love it if you could do me a solid and screenshot this podcast and share it on your social media platforms and just write one takeaway, one aha moment that you got from this episode. This will help me know what's really valuable to you, and so I can keep the good information coming. And it also lets your network know if this podcast is worth a listen to them. Thank you so much for listening and learning here with us on the Livin the Dream podcast. We are so grateful for you being a part of this lifelong learning journey. If you have any topics you'd like to discuss, please let us know in the comments or by messaging me on Instagram at CoachDamian_SD. Be kind to someone today, smile at someone today, and leave every person you come into contact with better than before. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.